want to dive deep into Stefon Diggs and his lack of production. And I will start off by saying that, sure, Diggs' production is down. But I will say he's doing some things to open up for his teammates, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious. He's getting a lot of attention. They're jumping his routes. And typically, you heard Allen say it like every other week in his pressers is, hey, Stefon Diggs is pretty much our first read in everything we run. And I think teams are listening to that. So, they're doing a good job of taking Diggs away, taking away that first read, much like we talked about with Tua. Like, yeah, you want to get your alpha receiver the ball. And so I think teams have adjusted to that and are taking him away on a lot of those quick concepts. It's again, the extension of the run game, get the ball out quick, get it to Diggs, let him set up the offense and keep them on schedule, keep them ahead of the chains. And so I think that is the first part of why we've seen him struggle right around week 7, 8, 9. You've seen some of that production, like baseline production, kind of drop. Now he's had some, again, some variance to it, but I think that's the first factor that, we're starting to see when you look back at some of the film and what they're doing to Diggs.
Yeah, and going into this game, like having some struggles for Diggs and then having him go up against Steve Spagnuolo and this Chiefs defense exacerbated everything and made it even worse. So I went through in Stefon Diggs's 6 career games against the Kansas City Chiefs with the Buffalo Bills. Again, 6 games. He has 31 catches for 371 yards. That's an average of 5.2 receptions per game and 61.8 yards per game. But last year in 2022, he had that big regular season game, 10 catches for 148 yards. If you remove that one game, he's averaging in the other 5, 4.2 receptions per game and 44.6 yards per game, including this game this year where he had 4 catches for 24 yards on 11 targets, 2021 where he had 2 catches for 69 yards, and the 2021 13-second playoff game where he had 3 catches for 7 yards on 6 targets. Jeez. But in that game, Gabe Davis balled out. So we're seeing teams that especially have familiarity like Steve Spagnuolo and I guess, more savvy teams in general. Like you said, Eric, they are leaning into that aspect of someone else has to beat us. We're taking away Stefon Diggs. We know where he likes to work, where the offense likes to get him the ball. We're going to take those options away or make it very hard for you to complete those options. And we've seen the struggles can manifest on the field in Diggs' numbers, especially these past several weeks.
Yeah, and so I started a thread a couple days ago in regards to Diggs because we get these questions throughout the week, especially right after a game, about Stefon Diggs and what teams are doing. So I got questions like, has he lost a step? I'm like, man, how can we say that when early on he was just roasting things? Do you think he just lost a step halfway through the season? No.
Yeah.
And so I started off with some of the next gen stats and separation stats, and you can see, according to the next gen stats, his average separation is 2.7 yards. Last season it was 2.8. Year before that it was 2.7. 2020 was 3 yards overall. So he's still getting the same, pretty much the same separation in the last few years. Now I looked at some of these splits since Brady's taken over, and if you look at weeks 1 through 10, some of the stats that I looked at were like team target percentage, EPA per target, yards per route run, explosive plays per target percentage, first downs per target, success percentage, drop percentage, and route depth. Some of the splits from weeks 1 through 10 versus 11 through 14 were kind of interesting. But again, I don't think it's clean cut. Hey, it started when Joe Brady took over. I think it actually started a couple weeks before when we were saying, hey, this offense is pretty predictable. They're only running a lot of those coverage beaters. But you can see that all those stats from the first 10 weeks were all down. His EPA per target were much, much lower. In the first 10 weeks, his EPA per target was 0.31. In weeks 11 through 14, it was negative 0.2. So awful. Yards per route run, it is a 2.37 in the first 10 weeks to 1.01. And so you can look at some of those stats, and I left some emojis there to let you know that they're not good. Those splits were not good. But again, I don't think it's as clean as that, but it gives you an idea of, how much different things are and have been for Diggs from early in the year.
This is one of those things, Eric, where the data kind of helps us piece the puzzle together with what we're seeing on film, or kind of makes you go back and be like, huh, and then start to connect some of those dots. Because again, like we've talked about, on the show and offline, between ourselves here, like we've talked about the struggles that we've seen with Stefon Diggs at times. Again, going back to that Denver game where corners are literally posting up inside with inside leverage, being like, no, we know you're going to try and do like a 5-yard in or a slant right here, and we're not going to
Mhm.
give it to you. And you look at those numbers, and the difference is significant. And even just seeing, from that week 10 number with, how he is at that, negative, 0.20
Yeah.
EPA. If you That's good for right now. Like on the entire year, there's 101 players that have at least 50 targets. That negative 0.20 would be good for 98th out of 101 qualifying players on the year in
Yeah.
EPA per target. Just to put that like because some people might see that and be like, oh, negative 0.2 is that bad? It's awful.
Awful.
And then even more so considering what he was previously with how positive his EPA was. Like that's a huge shift. And it's being pointed out by teams and it's being recognized. And then you kind of, it not all comes to a head, but you have that trend recently, and then coming into a game against a defense that traditionally, led by a defensive coordinator, has traditionally done well in bottling up
Mhm.
Stefon Diggs. And it's just kind of been a recipe for, not success or some failure going into this past week. And Eric, I know we also got some
Yeah.
graphs and things and charts to kind of put that perspective, or to put that into even further perspective. So take us through this with what we got for the team targets here in this
Yeah,
graph.
so we got like 4 graphs courtesy of True Media, just outlining the season. So week 1's at the top, week 14 to the bottom, and this is the team target percentage for Stefon Diggs. And as you can see early on, he was getting a lot of targets, and then again the last few weeks, it's down to 26.3%, down from 30.7% early on in the year. And again, I think that is part of the product of that is, hey, we have these other weapons and Brady's doing a good job. We're praising him for getting others involved,
Mhm.
running backs, the tight ends, getting guys involved that, Ty Johnsons of the world. Like, so we've given, Brady credit for that, but it's also taken away from their alpha receiver, as you can see in team target percentage as the season went on. I mean, look at weeks, once week 9 hit, 21.9%, week 10, 20%, week 11, 27.6%, 22.4% in week 12. And then week 14 was up a little bit to 30.6%. So again, we've praised Brady for getting others involved. But it's been kind of at the expense of Diggs when you're looking at some of the numbers.
And that's, you can look for the silver lining with him, be like, the gravity that Stefon Diggs has is
Mhm.
part of the reason that Dalton Kincaid gets these advantageous looks, or there are more plays available for Khalil Shakir or Gabe Davis at times. Again, like a horrible, horrible stat line is that 2021 playoff, the 13 seconds game. 3 catches for 7 yards on 6 targets. That is
Crazy.
awful. But Gabe Davis set a friggin' playoff record in that
Hmm.
game, and the Bills put up 36 points. So it's not necessarily all doom and gloom and end of the world, but it is significant from what it starts to indicate in terms of what defenses are picking up from this offense, what they're trying to shut down, what they're trying to stop, and the effect that it's having on the offense. And if Stefon Diggs isn't able to kind of get it into first gear, and you're not able to get the ball to your alpha receiver from a successful standpoint, that can be okay if you're operating consistently with the rest of your weapons. But that's going to put a lot onto the shoulders of Dalton Kincaid and maybe James Cook, Khalil Shakir, Gabe Davis, because if these struggles continue,
Hmm.
it takes away a significant part of this offense, which is Josh Allen going to Stefon Diggs.
Yeah, and so now we're looking at EPA per target as the season has
Oof,
progressed. I mean, look at the drop off, guys.
brutal.
That's a pretty big drop off. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a little more digging. And so then I looked at, EPA per target by down. I was like, hey, how's that splitting real quick? And so let me bring up the tweet that I had from earlier today. So EPA per target by down this year. First down, 0.40. That's really good. Second down, negative 0.04. Negative 0.04 on second down this year. That's crazy. Third down, 0.29. That's good. 2022, first down, 0.42. Very good. Second down, 0.49. So second down in 2022 for EPA per target for Diggs, it was 0.49. This year on second down, negative 0.04. I mean, that was just staggering. when I uncovered that, I had called you immediately. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, you gotta hear these numbers. And I told you, I had to triple check that because that was so bad that I almost didn't believe it.
It's one of those, like, we joked about it earlier. Yeah, like, you see those numbers and it's nuts. And here's boof, like,
What the heck, man?
this one is EPA per target for second down on the year, and you see it like each week. And those aren't dashes in weeks
Yeah,
5 through 14. Those are negatives. And again, just to put it in perspective for him, so EPA is expected points added. So each play when you start has like an expected point value attached to it. And then based on what happens on the play, you either add or subtract from that expected point. So, for instance, like week 4 is insane. 2.53. That means on each one of his second down targets, the expected points that he's adding is about 2 points per
yeah,
target, which is nuts. Like, that's tremendous. But that gets overshadowed by everything you see in like negative, 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 including so week 8 and week 10 at negative 0.89 and negative 0.98 respectively, that basically means like every time he's targeted on second down in those games, he's removing a point from the
yeah. They're
Buffalo
losing
Bills.
points on the board.
Yeah. And week 12 as well, like
Yeah.
negative 1.05. Like, that's so every target is basically taking points away. And then the success rate is these are all just nuts.
37% success rate on second down. Last year on second down, it was 61.9%. What a freaking drop
That is
on
crazy.
second
Like,
down.
and also too, like, that's we say it every time on the show when we use percentages. Like, a 5 percentage point drop is significant. Let alone this is 24.9% or percentage point drop is
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah. Yeah, this is again, I had to triple check it because it just did not make any sense to me,
No.
why that was happening as often as it was. And so, of course, we looked at some of the numbers, and I do want to jump into the film. But let's start off. I said, the quick game. That was kind of the thing. Obviously, when coordinators are creating a game plan and calling plays in the game, first and second down are usually your base concepts. So a lot of the Bills base concepts you're going to see on the second down plays. You would probably see it on first down as well, depending on again the distance, whether it's like second and 1 to 3, second and 4 to 6, second and 7 or more. You're going to see a lot of the same type of plays. And again, maybe they just change out personnel into the primary read of the play and stuff like that. But more times than not, as Josh says, Diggs is usually that first read. And so what we've heard from across the league as a trend, but what we started talking about it in the Jags game when the Jags were bringing all of those pressures in London, they were happening on second down. And what we're seeing is defenses are treating second down like it's third down. So you're getting a lot of those exotic pressures, blitzes, and the Bills kind of baseline concept for getting out of a blitz and really just trying to stay ahead of the chains when teams are blitzing, kind of like a fail safe, has been their RPO game, more specifically their RPO screen game. And that obviously has been a huge talking point this week, especially coming out of the game last week.
Yeah, with tons of screens in that game against Kansas City, multiple drops from Diggs on the screens, a huge miss for a potential touchdown opportunity to Gabe Davis. So it's funny how that, whole screen piece connects. And you hit it on the head, which I think is an awesome point for people to really like take home with you from this episode is, we see trends across the league. And one of them is, treating second downs like third downs. And if you can go watch coaching clinics on YouTube, watch, what, the Georgia crew is doing. There's tons of stuff from Glenn Schumann and that whole crew, like talking about what they do. And they talk about that, treating second down like
Right.
third down and what it forces offenses to do. And the defenses have used that to limit Stefon Diggs significantly. And then by extension, trying to limit and kind of hinder what this Bills offense is doing or has done.
Right. And so we're going to get back to the film here. We're getting some comments to say, hey, get back to the film. Enough with the analytics. We're with you. We're with you. But we just want to set up this segment because we're going to go through a bunch of film showing you some of the stuff we're talking about. And I'll outline, the down and distances. This one's a first down, but I want to show you, hey, they're looking to Diggs on this play, that 4 strong type of look. They're looking to Diggs. Diggs is the first read right here over the middle. All right. And Josh is going to look to him. and it's taken away. Slade takes it away. And honestly, look at the linebacker. You see him fast flowing over the top
Mhm.
too. So again, gravity. Diggs has gravity. This is first down. They're trying to get the ball to him, especially when you run those 4 strong formations or 4 eligibles in the one side of the field. A lot of times it's like what did Varsity Blues call it? They had 4 to one side, 1 to the other. Oh,
Oh, damn, I remember.
I forget what he called it. Oop de oop or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that
Um,
might be, yeah, that's
yeah,
definitely in there. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So you want them to isolate on the backside, but you can see it's not just the corner there. You see the linebacker fast flow. And so Josh just moves on, but that opens up Gabe Davis over the middle.
Mhm.
This is a play that Bills run pretty much every week. But
Yes.
again, first read is Diggs. They want to get the ball to Diggs. If he has leverage, if he wins that one-on-one versus Slade, Diggs is going to get the ball. He doesn't, and it opens up the middle of the field for Davis.
And these are the type of things we continue to see towards Stefon Diggs, especially when he is that single receiver. Like sometimes it's a direct double team, like an actual bracket, and sometimes it's just like, hey, zone coverage, we're fast flowing over there. If we might be going there on the snap, or if Allen's eyes lead us there, like they do on this play, like Allen's eyes go there to Diggs, and 53 is immediately like, oh, let me haul ass and try and get over there because he's trying to go to Stefon Diggs. But Eric, this is again, like you said, this is like one of the positives. Okay, cool. Diggs isn't getting the ball because they're giving him that attention. They're taking that away. Like this is a significantly positive gain for Gabe Davis that's created because of the gravity Stefon Diggs has.
Right. And against the Chiefs, hey, what do you know? Same play, bottom of the screen, inside leverage. This is something we're going to say several times over the next few minutes in this segment.
Yep.
Watch the corners that play over Diggs, especially when they're up near line of scrimmage and post snap. You'll see them take inside leverage. And I think that's them trying to take away the quick game, take away the quick. Again, that last play and this play are typically quick game pass concepts, quick slant over the middle. And
Mm-hmm.
if he can win over the middle, look at the space he's going to have. So obviously, Snead does a good job, chokes that route out, shuts that quick game down. And you can see, yeah, there is a safety over the top too. And what does it do? It opens up Knox over the middle early in this game.
Yeah, again, similar to what we saw in that Philly play, except this time with Snead, like this is a very deliberate move from Snead. You literally see him basically he's still lined up a little bit on that inside shoulder, but closer to being head up. And on the snap, he almost kind of like he hinges or like walls off and he
Mhm.
immediately steps inside, gets his hands on Diggs. Like he's literally saying, like, no, you're not going inside. Even if he doesn't think Diggs is going inside. That is what he is aiming to take away because that is what the Bills like to do with Stefon Diggs in general and in these situations. And then, like you said, you got Justin Reed over the top as that safety. But again, who cares in this instance? Because you get that 4 strong look and it creates all this space inside. So that's a key piece too. Like the numbers for Diggs aren't there and the success isn't there, but it is creating the opportunity for success for other players like you're seeing here. Is I also love how just crazy Willie Gay gets faked out. Like he's calling out that motion
So
from
bad.
Gilliam and then tries to slam on the brakes and just can't and wipes out.
It's so bad. They attacked him in the run and the pass game. And so
Yeah.
let me talk about that real quick. So, okay, first read, it's taken away. Well, the 4 eligibles to the top of the screen, it's forcing these guys to all communicate because as you said like early on in this breakdown is, hey, 2 can become 3, 1 becomes 2. Like
Mhm.
they're changing things with all these guys with 4 eligibles to the top of the screen. And so they're executing that push. They're pushing all these guys, Cook and Gilliam out wide. They're pushing it to these linebackers here and then you see Bolton pointing to Knox here as he comes across the middle because he's passing Knox to Gay, but Gay doesn't get the memo. And you see the middle of the field wide open. So kudos to Brady. And again, this is what we're giving him credit for. You're trying to get the ball to your alpha, but they're taking away the inside, the quick game with good leverage. And so they're just moving on in the progressions, and you're getting the ball over the middle of the field, which we want
Mhm.
to other weapons, especially the tight ends, with Knox coming back and Kincaid. And this is something, again, the inside leverage piece. Watch Sauce Gardner. Again, it's Sauce Gardner. He's pretty good.
Mhm.
It's a 2-by-2 formation. But watch immediately post snap. Look at the leverage.
Yep.
Boom. Inside leverage there. And he just stays right in his pocket. And then he's there at the catch point and the ball goes incomplete. So again, the leverage piece here, they're not letting Diggs, in those one-on-one situations, those man coverage situations, they're not letting him play that and one type style where he can create separation with those unorthodox releases and crossovers.
And this goes to some of the numbers you put out in that thread, with Diggs having that 2.7 average yards of separation on the year. And this is part of it, like teams playing him in this way and recognizing the type of route tendencies he has and then playing with that type of leverage. And, it's funny too, like with the man coverage piece, cover one, obviously man coverage, single high safety. You look at that for Stefon Diggs and you would think like, man, like he's such a good route runner. He's great against man coverage. If you look at him on the year, there are 57 players, qualifying players this year, not just receivers, when it comes to snaps against cover one. Diggs is 36th out of those 57 in EPA per target, 34th in total EPA, 34th in positive play percentage, 34th in yards per route run, and 33rd in yards per catch. Like you're just not seeing that separation again in this specific instance against a specific coverage, but overall it's just indicative of how teams are playing him from a man coverage leverage perspective, taking away those route tendencies.
Yeah, and someone in the chat legit says more motion for Diggs then. So
Mhm.
I looked at the splits from Dorsey to Brady, and motion is up 5%. Motion is up from 10% to 15%. And so they are motioning Diggs more. But again, it's just the leverage, and you're going to see they motion him later in this breakdown. You're going to see how the defense adjusts to it, but we'll get to it. So here's another first down play. Again, these aren't the second down plays that we're going to eventually get to. These are just those first down plays and how defenses are using leverage to take away some of, what Diggs is good at. And this was a game where you started to notice defenses and defensive backs cluing in on the Bills coverage beater concepts. And so Diggs he just motioned to the top of the screen, and it looks like it's just going to be zone coverage. And they run their, too high beater where he's just running that under route. And much like you saw in the last couple plays, that DB, he takes inside leverage, right, Anthony? He tries
Mhm.
choking him off, but he's in that soft press. So there's still some space in between the two players. And that allowed Diggs to get across the face of that guy, catch the ball, and nearly get the first down on this play, if I recall correctly. Yep, he gets the first down on this play. So yeah, this worked, but the heavy lifting was from Diggs here, and he had just enough space to win one-on-one, even when the defender took away that it took away that in cut, took away that slant route by taking inside leverage post snap.
You hit it there with the heavy lifting. Like this play worked, but look how hard Diggs had to work to make this work. Like this is a tremendous job by Diggs. Like this corner is playing with inside leverage, and Diggs manages with his pacing and his timing and body language, and operating with deception in his stem to be able to open him up enough and threaten him vertically. Then it gets 23 to plant on that right foot, that upfield foot, so he can cut underneath him and get inside. But that's hard, like that, and that's not necessarily sustainable. And no disrespect to the corner here, but this isn't going to work against the L'Jarius Sneeds and the Sauce Gardners of the world who have
Sure
better
can
technique.
shut him down on the same route earlier in the game. The
There you
same
go.
exact route. He shut him down. He just uses a jam at the line of scrimmage, completely eliminated him on this play.
And not to mention too, like you said, like this one's more of a soft press. Like even if the corner is just up a little more into the kitchen of Stefon Diggs, this becomes significantly harder. Like, and so this is an example. People see the end result and like, man, what an amazing play by Diggs. But he had to do a lot of heavy lifting, like you said, to get that positive play there.
Right. And so now this is a second down situation. All right. So we're going to get into some of the second down plays. 2nd and 15 against the Chiefs in the second quarter. 4:32 left in the half. Bottom of the screen. So you see Snead once again kind of messing with him in his leverage and his press. But then I want you to watch over the top. So you see him take inside leverage. Snead takes away the inside leverage. And then you have the safety rolling over the top. So, of course, Josh is not going to think about going there. And to kind of highlight the difference between the safety that's near the logo, look at the width. Look at how they're shading this safety towards Diggs, and then damn near have a post safety to help with everyone else. So that's the type of respect that Diggs is getting. And again, other guys have to step up, but it doesn't allow Diggs to get the ball. But on this play, it allowed James Cook to get the ball. So once again, others are benefiting. And I love this play from the end zone angle. I think this is one we were kind of referencing earlier
Mhm.
against Bolton. Just watch how quickly Josh gets to Cook right here, and just boom, he's out. Like that burst, man. Like it's nice to see him use that, and Josh hitting him in stride, getting to him. Because again, this isn't really a play that's probably drawn up for Cook, but Josh got there just based on the coverage rotation and understanding. Again, with those two high shells, the underneath's wide open. If you're in playing 2-man or you got guys over the top of Diggs, that means someone else. A lot of people have one-on-ones, and that guy was Cook versus Bolton, and Cook roasted him on that out route.
Yeah, this is the one we talked about earlier, and then I mentioned was the one that got me like really excited of out of all of like Cook's receptions in this game, because this is the ones like the type of route and type of win you see from the Alvin Kamara's and the Austin Eckler's, like these true 3-down backs that are threats coming out of the backfield, like where you can get them in a mismatch against a linebacker just purely because of their skill set. Like this isn't even that like the most amazing route from Cook, and Bolton's in decent position, but you see the separation with Cook's speed and then the decision making from Allen, the ball placement from Allen to allow Cook to get this ball and continue to get upfield, which is awesome. But again, it's partially set up because of that coverage that they are rotating towards Stefon Diggs. And again, you get that inside leverage from L'Jarius Sneed. You get that far safety. Like anytime you get a boundary safety, like outside the numbers, like between the numbers and the hash, like they are doing that for a specific reason based on alignment. And it's because of Stefon Diggs. And again, that just means, Diggs is going to be able to work in certain instances. Other guys have to. And so it's nice to be able to see these little glimpses in terms of, some hope if these type of struggles continue.
Yeah, so back to the Jets game, 2nd and 7 situation. So another second down play. And this is where we begin the segment of the RPO screens. And we heard Joe Brady give an awesome answer this week about why they made the call against the Chiefs late in the game to run that RPO screen. And he had a great point, because it really relates back, Anthony, to what we talked about earlier of how defenses are treating second down like third down. And you're getting those exotic looks, exotic pressures and blitzes. And so what you're going to see on these few plays, and we'll get to the Chiefs one, is that they're giving Josh the option to get the ball out and again, stay ahead of the chains, even if they only get 3 yards on the play. That's a win versus a blitz. And instead of taking a sack, that's still a win in keeping the offense on schedule. And so you heard Joe Brady talk about, hey, we're giving Josh the option to spit it out to Diggs if they bring pressure, because defenses are bringing pressure and blitzes on second down. And so I thought that was an awesome answer and logic behind it. But then you're having these type of plays from Diggs where he's just dropping them. He's just simply dropping them. And he's had like 4 drops over the last 4 games, and 2 of them were on these screens. One of them you'll see Josh just straight dirted right in front of Diggs against the Bucks. But yeah, this is a RPO. It's a run with a pass tag. So there's a run here. And if Josh likes the box or the numbers, he can just, hand it off. But here he throws it out wide because they have a hat on a hat. We always talk about that. And obviously the third defender would be coming from depth, or even the linebacker. So that's why Josh spits it out to Diggs on this play. But again, it's out in front of Diggs and he just drops it.
Yeah, the math is sound. The decision is sound. It's just that poor execution there. And that's a ball that Diggs should have. But like you said, like it's also a little out in front of him from Allen. I think that's a piece you see too, like consistently within these like RPO, screen pieces to Diggs and Allen. Like they're catches that Diggs could make, but they're also like not the best throws. Sometimes they're too far out in front of Diggs, or sometimes they're too low, or it's more towards the back shoulder, and he has to like turn his body a little bit and adjust. Like there's just that disconnect that exists there. But again, it's being created by what the defense is presenting.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And so here's the one I was talking about. So you see, again, they have a 2-over-1 to the top of the screen because this guy's kind of shown right here, right, Anthony? And so this is why you see Josh throw it out wide. So you have a man-on-man here. And so the only guy that can really make the tackle on Diggs is this guy if Shakir picks up his block. But watch this throw. Again, this is a second down play, guys. You're not even giving the guy a chance. So we talked about it, and the chat was talking about it earlier. Josh isn't the best at throwing screens, and the Bills haven't been really good at running screens, not just because of Josh's throwing and accuracy or placement on screens, but also because the defense does like to keep a lot of eyes on Josh and play, a lot of good zone and spies and stuff like that. And, muddle rushes to keep Josh in the pocket. And those are all definitely factors. But here, this is a +1, like if Josh can hit Diggs, this is a positive play again on second down, but instead it goes right into the dirt.
Yeah, this is something that, Devin White takes a good angle and he's fast and athletic, but at the very least, you're looking at I don't know, like worst case scenario, like a 3-yard gain. And if Diggs can get up the sideline, maybe push it to like 4 to 6, something. Either way, it's better than just a straight up incompletion. I feel like Devin White like goes to him that there to be like, bro, you saw him dirt that throw to you? And they kind of like butt heads a little bit. Like, yeah, like it's just again that inconsistency piece that we see, and this contributes to that negative like EPA per target there. Even though this isn't Diggs's fault, this contributes to that significant metric change that we've seen.
Right. And so here's a 2nd and 2 situation. And this, believe it or not, was a successful screen or RPO screen. 5:35 on the clock in the first quarter. This is one to the bottom of the screen, and Diggs gets 3. He gets 3 yards. So since week 8, the Bills have run. Diggs has gotten 21 targets. Anthony, 21. He has 7 receptions. 7 receptions on 2nd down
This one blew my
since week
mind when
8.
you called me earlier and told like
Yeah.
there were all the data really hit me, but this one was the one that just like dropped my jaw.
Right. And so he's had 21 targets on 2nd down since week 8, and he's got 7 receptions. 5 of those 21 targets are screens like this, and he's completed 3 of those 5 to Diggs for 9 yards. This was 3 yards, so they're averaging 3 yards of completion. Again, it's a not a bad call when the defense is blitzing on those 2nd downs. And this one, again, it was a success. He got the first down, but man, he had to work to get that first down. So again, we're just trying to show you why the Bills are struggling on that down. It was too eye-opening to ignore it because 2nd down has been so bad when we're talking about Diggs and again, all of the statistics, stats that we showed earlier.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, you're just putting that whole picture together, kind of show what's up. And, Eric, it'd be cool, like if a play like this set up like a really big play
You
opportunity
had to
later
say
in
it,
the
huh?
game.
Yeah, you had to go there, huh? I know, man.
Oh my
It's tough. It's tough. And so those were 3 of the screens on 2nd down. Again, 2nd down. And so here's a 2nd and 5 situation, and this is the Chiefs game again. And once again, this was the end of the half. I mean, just look at the safety over the top.
Mhm.
Look at the leverage by the DB. And again, you got to think about it. Yeah, he's got the safety deep. He's got a man over him, but he's also got a boundary. So it's basically 3-on-1 here. And look at the width again of that safety versus the safety to the bottom. Look at the width and the difference of the landmarks that they're on. And you see Josh try to still push it down there. This is right under the 1-minute mark. And of course, that goes incomplete. These are the things that teams are doing to Stefon Diggs on 2nd down and 3rd downs, man. It's tough to see. Like they have to do some different things because they have to get him more involved on 2nd down to set up to skip 3rd down altogether because that's what teams are banking on. That hey,
Yeah.
we're going to shut him down on 2nd down so that we can get into those 3rd and 6s and 3rd and longs, and then we can throw a corner on Diggs and then a safety over the top, and we can shut the Bills offense down because they don't have any other guys that at the moment can carry the team when Diggs is bracketed.
This type of width is for those watching and playing at home, like that type of width is significant. Like Eric, you highlighted it. Like the difference between Justin Reed is that safety up top, and Kamari Connor is that safety down low. And granted, you have the initial alignment in terms of like wide side and short side piece, but the fact that Justin Reed is at the numbers, similar to what we showed earlier, where the safety to the bottom of the screen was between the numbers and the boundary, that is an extreme width in terms of landmark, like you said, for a deep half safety. Like, and just seeing in relation to Kamari Connor, and that width is happening there. And like you labeled it, him cheating to that short side up top, you have to start punishing defenses for cheating to that side like that, or cheating to that degree. And if they're going to continue, cool, that's fine. Hit all these other options with more regularity, because this isn't a direct like double cover on Stefon Diggs, but he's shaded so significantly in that regard to try and take away Stefon Diggs.
Yeah, and we go back to the Eagles game, 2nd and 4 situation. So another 2nd down play, 2nd and short.
Mm.
And just look at Diggs. He's just like, yo, look at this. I got
Yeah.
Byard in my face. I got a corner over the top. It's 2nd and 4. And believe it or not, on 2nd downs since week 8, this is the play that actually got the most yards on 2nd down for the Bills and Diggs here. And look how hard he had to work on this. It's literally just cover 3. It's literally just cover 3. They just walked the safety, the flats player, out over Diggs, take away that primary read, take away him early, and then Josh sees the corner relate to this seam ball right here. And so then he throws it up and over Byard. But look how hard he had to work to get that there. So Brady has to do a better job of, yes, moving Diggs around on second down, but trying to get some easy button plays back for Diggs, because defensive backs and defensive coordinators are keying in on Diggs on second down.
Yeah, and this isn't, again, for everyone playing at home, like this is cover three. Like cover three happens all the time, and Eric, you called it out, but like to to take that, flat safety, and instead of spinning him down or bringing him down like after, and showing single high and having him go there too high spin, whatever, to just outright declare him off rip and just put him right into Stefon Diggs's face. Like that is purposeful, that is intent, and that's not happening with regularity. And this ends up being a completion and the most successful one, like you said, but it takes a tremendously layered throw from Josh Allen. It takes a really great route from Stefon Diggs just to complete like a 14-yard
Yeah.
pass on this play. And again, it's indicative of how defenses are treating Diggs and how they're treating these down and distances and who they're trying to take away and why. Again, like it's awesome that he won there and Allen won there, but just to see just to see Byard like right off rip, like not even, no, we're not trying to hide anything, we're not trying to do anything, it's going to be cover three and we're going to put him right here to try and disrupt you, and then he's just going to stay in that zone.
And here's another one where they have a guy over the top. Now we're beyond the second downs. We're working into third downs now, and showing you again. We showed you how they want to get the Bills offense into third downs, and the Bills are very good on third down. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but they're very good on third downs because they stay in that manageable 3rd and 6, 3rd and 4
Mhm.
situation. So by taking Diggs away as much as they can on second down, again, they're going to force those 3rd and long plays where then Josh maybe gets a little more hero ball in his blood
Mhm.
and wants to, make some plays down the field, and things can happen. But watch Diggs here. And so again, good motion here by Kincaid. Again, that kind of hides Diggs a little bit. But look how the Eagles go ahead and defend him on this play.
Mhm.
And it's a nice route, but Josh can't throw it to him. So outside leverage off the snap by the DB, got a safety waiting on him. So if Diggs goes across the middle, this guy's probably going to cut it and take and run with Diggs here. So you can see Josh is looking at him, but there's just nothing there. He can't throw it. Obviously, the Eagles have some pressure. They get a 5-man pressure here, and Josh has to escape the pocket. And this is when, Davis is able to separate. Again, other guys got to step up. And this one was a little outside of structure, but other guys got to step up within structure when Diggs is taken away. And once again, it comes down to Brady. He's got to do a better job on second down and third down of getting Diggs away from those brackets, those
Mhm.
vices, those, plays where there's a guy up near the line of scrimmage and a guy over the top. He's got to do some things with Diggs to get him open.
The previous couple examples or several examples we showed, it was more, okay, the safety is, significantly shaded to this side or cheating to the dig side and trying to cut down. Like this one is more deliberate. This is a purposeful, like bracket, vice, whatever you want to go with. Like look at Reed Blankenship. That's that safety, number 32 who's
Mhm.
coming down. He, on the snap, he immediately gets his eyes onto Stefon Diggs. And if like you said, you called out with what Slay was doing, they're just bracketing him like he's outside and Blankenship is inside. And you see Diggs sell that inside move, and Blankenship almost like poaches it, like he's trying to
Yep.
cut it off. And again, it's a great route from Stefon Diggs, but this is man coverage across the board with that double onto Stefon Diggs, a purposeful bracket. So again, it's just another example. Sometimes teams are just doing it with zone coverage, shading the safety significantly over to the top of him and cheating, or they're giving you direct, more, purposeful double coverage in terms of a bracket or something like that.
Right. And so here's a 3-by-1 formation from the Eagles game. Slay versus Diggs, top of the screen, and into the boundary, into the short side of the field. Slay's just going to take inside leverage like we talked about. And now he's got the boundary as a defender. Josh is looking there and then just reloads and misses Davis over the middle of the field, misses Shakir deep down the field here. And so again, the Bills are trying to get the ball to Diggs, and they're just not doing enough things with him to beat leverage, to get schemed open as often as he should. And they're just doing some good things, man. They're doing some good things. Got to give them credit. Because the Bills offense, when it comes to the passing game, does run through Diggs. So the Bills need to start pivoting and getting Diggs involved more.
Yeah, and this one just like that deep set, like little hook route from Stefon Diggs. And again, to the point, like another route that can be compromised with that inside leverage. And then especially to, even to the short side of the field, this isn't even one of those throws where Allen can kind of put it more outside. So that way, if you miss, you're just missing outside and it's that incomplete piece. But again, because it's on third down, you need a completion. So that can't be a risky throw out there. So Slay playing with that leverage against that route takes
Mhm.
away and compromises Diggs, but even more so given the scenario and the situation. And this one still drives me. I don't know what happened on this throw. Like Gabe Davis was wide open. I don't know
Yep.
how it gets dirted. I don't know where it goes. But like he also for those, just like a quick anecdote. So Stefon Diggs, Eric, like you showed earlier, his average separation on the year is 2.7. Gabe Davis's is 2.9.
Mhm.
I get a lot of comments anytime I say anything positive about Gabe Davis. I get a lot of comments on Twitter that are like, "Oh, well, it's because he can't separate. He separates more than Stefon Diggs." I obviously neither is great with being under 3, but this is an example of Gabe Davis being open and Allen just missing the mark for whatever reason. But again, it stems from what defenses are doing to take away Stefon Diggs, and if Allen can't be on the same page regularly with Gabe Davis or Dalton Kincaid doesn't uncover, it starts to present complications because if you're an opposing defense, the easy button for Josh Allen for so long has just been like, okay, cool, I'll go to Diggs. And it just seemed like no matter what, they were able to win and click and their chemistry and their rapport and their timing. And now that they're starting to take that away or get that taken away by opposing defenses, again, that can be fine. You can still win. Again, like one of his most horrible stat lines was the 13 seconds game, and the Bills put up 36 points. But that means it's going to take somebody like a Gabe Davis stepping up, or a Dalton Kincaid, or a James Cook, or Joe Brady in terms of
Mhm.
scheming someone else open. You have to find some way to alleviate that pressure that is getting put onto the offense because defenses are taking away Stefon Diggs.
Yeah, and it can't be like, hey, Diggs is off to the left side. Oh, he's bracketed, so I have to move all the way across the field. It's
Mm-hmm.
got to be again within the progression. So
Yep.
it's going to take some manipulating of some of the routes to, put that receiver in the line of progression or line of sight of Josh on those plays. And when it comes to second down, like I love the rationale behind
Mm-hmm.
Brady and how he explained it. It was super insightful. It was good stuff, man. And when he talked about running those screens off the RPOs. And if they're blitzing now, we can just get it out there and again, move on to the next play. I love that, but it's time to move away from throwing it to Diggs. It's time to, hey, let's give Shakir a shot. If we're going to do that RPO type screen, let's make sure that Shakir there, which again, it's a ebb and flow. It's one of those things because Shakir's been really good as a blocker on those plays.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's such a
So
everything is such a catch 22.
but that's how you start to incorporate Knox and Kincaid, who's good at blocking in space, and obviously
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Davis. So switching it up in that manner, I think can again maybe yield a little more yardage on those plays. Instead of getting 3 a play, you're getting 6 or 12 every once in a while. And I will say it did work. Sherfield got 16 yards on the RPO screen in the game against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
We showed the Diggs one that he converted again, only a 3-yarder, but it moved the chains.
First down.
So again, and Aaron said something about the screen. They were
Oh
an
yeah.
empty and they threw the screen to him when he was in a slot.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Shakir, yeah.
vary it up that way. Maybe it's a pass run option where Josh is either throwing that or he's running it. Like all cards are on the table now, guys. Like their
Yeah.
backs are against the wall. Start to incorporate everyone, but when it comes to Diggs, like to wrap the segment up, it's time for them to do a better job of getting him the ball so that they can start skipping those third downs and getting more explosive plays because they've been very limited when it comes to that. And especially on second downs with Diggs, like his explosive percentage, it's dropped over the last half of the year.